Crossing the ocean between stars could one day be a regular commute. This is not a fantasy, but a future built on 25 specific, foundational technologies. By the end of this exploration, you will hold a complete map of the engineering revolutions required to make humanity an interstellar species. We will uncover why our current rockets are like stone tools for this journey, and what mysterious force could protect a crew from the invisible fury of deep space. Each piece of this puzzle, from engines that harness star fire to ships that heal themselves, reveals a staggering challenge waiting for its solution. What does it truly take for a journey to become routine? Our map of the future starts with the first and most fundamental piece of the puzzle, the one that makes all other considerations possible. We need a way to move, not just a little faster than we do now, but with a kind of sustained, relentless push that redefines the very idea of travel. Our current rockets, for all their thunder and flame, are utterly inadequate for this task. Think of them as trying to cross an ocean in a rowboat. The effort is heroic, but the scale is all wrong. They burn their entire fuel supply in a few violent minutes just to reach orbit, leaving nothing for the long coast between worlds, let alone between stars. For an interstellar journey, we need an engine that doesn't just give a mighty shove and then fall silent. We need one that can keep pushing gently and efficiently for years, even decades. It needs to turn a tiny amount of fuel into an immense amount of forward motion. This quality is called specific impulse, and for crossing light years, it must be astronomically high. This leads us to concepts that sound like science fiction but are grounded in real physics. The first contender is nuclear fusion propulsion. This is not about creating a bomb, but about taming a tiny, contained star. Imagine a reactor that fuses atoms together, the same process that powers our sun, and uses that released energy to heat a propellant like hydrogen to unimaginable temperatures, shooting it out the back at a significant fraction of light speed. This engine could provide a steady, powerful thrust for the entire voyage. Another, even more potent idea is the antimatter engine. When matter meets its antimatter opposite, they annihilate each other, converting 100% of their mass into pure energy. It is the ultimate energy density, the most efficient fuel possible in our universe. Harnessing even a gram of this reaction could provide thrust beyond anything else we can conceive. These are not mere upgrades, they are paradigm shifts in how we move through space. Without one of them, or something equally revolutionary, an interstellar vessel would be a drifting tomb, taking tens of thousands of years to reach even the nearest star. The development of this first technology, a reliable and scalable propulsion system, is the non-negotiable cornerstone. It is the key that unlocks the door to the cosmic ocean, and everything else we will discuss, from shielding to artificial gravity, depends entirely on having this key in hand first. But an engine alone is just a powerful carriage hurtling through an empty desert. The second technology asks a more profound question. What does the crew breathe, drink, and eat for the decades of their journey? A starship cannot pull over for supplies. It must carry a complete, self-sustaining version of Earth, a closed-loop life support system that recycles every single molecule with near-perfect efficiency. Think of our planet as a giant, beautiful recycling machine. Rain falls, plants grow, animals breathe, and nothing is truly wasted. We must rebuild that entire intricate process inside the metal hull of a ship. This goes far beyond the filters and tanks used on the International Space Station today. Those systems are mechanical. They scrub carbon dioxide and recycle some water, but they eventually wear out and require spare parts or new chemicals from Earth. For an interstellar voyage, we need a living, breathing system. We need a bioregenerative life support system. Imagine vast chambers not of sterile machinery but of lush greenery. Genetically engineered plants and algae, optimized for space, would form the heart of this ecosystem. They would absorb the carbon dioxide we exhale and, using light from advanced LEDs mimicking sunlight, convert it back into fresh oxygen through photosynthesis. But their role is even greater. These plants would also be a primary food source, providing nutrients, vitamins, and even psychological comfort, a living garden in the deep black. Human waste and inedible plant matter would not be discarded. Specially designed microbial reactors, tiny bacterial workhorses, would break down this material, recovering precious water and converting the remainder into fertilizers to feed the plants once more. The goal is a near 100% closure rate, where every drop of water, every atom of oxygen, and every bit of organic material is constantly cycled and reused. The challenge is not just building these individual parts, but managing the incredibly delicate balance of the whole artificial biosphere for decades. A single disease in the plant chambers, a microbial imbalance, or a critical nutrient slowly leaching away could unravel the entire system. This technology is the ultimate test of our understanding of ecology itself. It is about bottling the miracle of a living world and ensuring it can thrive in the absolute isolation of interstellar space. The crew's survival does not just depend on the strength of their hull, but on the resilience of this miniature, engineered Earth they carry with them. This invisible ocean of radiation is the third, and perhaps most insidious, wall we must breach. Our cozy bubble here on Earth is protected by two powerful shields, the thick atmosphere above us and the planet's churning magnetic field below. These deflect or absorb the constant rain of high-energy particles streaming from the sun and the distant explosions of dying stars. But once a ship leaves that protective embrace, its crew and delicate electronics are exposed to a silent, ceaseless storm. This is not a mild sunburn. It is a fundamental assault on the very fabric of life, damaging cells and DNA in ways that can lead to serious health challenges over time. To make any journey routine, we must build a portable version of Earth's defenses, a technology of perfect, unwavering shelter. The most straightforward idea is passive shielding, simply putting enough mass between the crew and the radiation. Picture the ship's hull lined with vast tanks of water or layers of specialized hydrogen-rich plastics. These materials act like a cosmic bulletproof vest, slowing and stopping incoming particles. But there is a devastating trade-off: mass. Every extra kilogram of shielding requires exponentially more fuel to accelerate and decelerate. Filling a ship with enough water to be safe could make it so heavy it never reaches a meaningful speed, trapping the mission in a paradox of safety and mobility. So we look to a more elegant but far more complex solution: active shielding. This is the concept of a true force field. The idea is to generate a powerful magnetic bubble around the ship, or a shell of electrostatic charge that gently pushes incoming charged particles away, just as Earth's magnetosphere does. It is a shield of pure energy, not mass. The vision is breathtaking, a shimmering, invisible cocoon holding back the fury of deep space, yet the challenge is immense. Creating a magnetic field large and strong enough to protect an entire starship would require staggering amounts of power, likely from the same advanced reactor that drives the engines. This system must also be flawlessly reliable. A single failure during the voyage, a flicker in the field, could subject the crew to a lethal dose in mere hours. The technology, therefore, is not just about generating a field, but about engineering something with the resilience of a mountain and the constancy of a heartbeat. It must operate for decades without maintenance, self-diagnose problems, and have multiple redundant layers. Solving this is not optional. It is the difference between sending explorers on a journey and sending them into a silent, invisible storm. The ship's hull protects them from the void, but this third technology, this artificial magnetosphere, must protect them from the void's hidden teeth. A silent ship sailing a light year from home faces a profound isolation. Radio signals from Earth, those comforting threads of guidance, would take over 4 years for a simple question to arrive and another 4 for the answer to return. In the face of such a communication chasm, the fourth technology must become the ship's own mind, a captain born of silicon and code. This is not a simple autopilot. It is a fully autonomous navigation and artificial intelligence system, an entity with the combined responsibilities of explorer, guardian, and caretaker for a voyage that may span human lifetimes. Its first and most critical duty is to see and understand a realm no human eyes have ever witnessed. Streaming in from powerful telescopes and an array of exotic sensors, data paints a picture of the space ahead, a map that is constantly being drawn for the first time. The artificial intelligence must process this flood of information in real time, identifying not just the distant target star, but the immediate and invisible threats. Is that a diffuse cloud of microscopic dust and ice, a micrometeoroid swarm that could sandblast the hull over centuries? Does the subtle tug on the ship's trajectory indicate a previously undetected gravitational anomaly, a hidden pocket of mass warping space itself? The artificial intelligence must calculate the risk, decide on a new course, and fire the maneuvering thrusters, all before a human crew could even finish reading the initial sensor alert. But its role extends far beyond the helm. This artificial mind is also the ship's chief engineer, integrated into every subsystem. It monitors the steady thrum of the fusion reactor, the delicate balance of the life support biosphere, and the constant hum of the radiation shields. When a component shows the slightest sign of wear, or a strange fluctuation appears in the data, the artificial intelligence must diagnose the problem from a library of millions of potential failures, many of which its designers on Earth could never have anticipated. Then it must enact a repair. This is where the artificial intelligence's commands extend into the physical world, directing sophisticated robotic servitors. Imagine multi-limbed machines crawling through access tunnels too cramped for humans, their tools welding a microfracture in a coolant line, or a swarm of smaller bots collectively replacing a failed optical sensor on the ship's exterior. The artificial intelligence does not just identify the problem, it orchestrates the entire solution. Developing such a system presents a staggering challenge in reliability. This cannot be a system that occasionally crashes and needs rebooting. It must possess a fault tolerance beyond anything we currently build, with layers of redundant neural networks that can self-audit and isolate errors without ever dropping its guard. It must be robust enough to operate flawlessly for a century, learning and adapting to an environment its original programming only theorized, all while protecting the fragile biological lives in its care. In the absolute solitude between stars, this fourth technology is more than a tool. It is the enduring consciousness of the vessel, the unwavering sentinel that turns a ship of explorers into a true world of its own. Even the most perfectly sealed world must eventually face the reality of consumption. A ship can only carry so much. Every gram of hydrogen fuel burned by the engines, every liter of water lost to an imperfect recycling seal, every spare part for a critical machine, represents a finite reserve slowly dwindling toward zero. This is the tyranny of the mass budget, a brutal equation that has constrained every space mission in history. To break this final chain, we need a fifth technology that fundamentally changes our relationship with the cosmos itself. We must learn to live off the land, not on a green Earth, but in the ultimate wilderness of space. This is called in-situ resource utilization, a simple phrase for a revolutionary idea, turning the void from a barren expanse into a landscape of potential workshops and fuel depots. Imagine the journey not as a lonely sprint but as a purposeful trek, The ship's powerful sensors scan ahead, not just for hazards but for opportunities. It identifies a small, icy body, a comet or an asteroid drifting in the vast gulf between stars. This is not just a rock, it is a cosmic oasis. The vessel maneuvers alongside it, and sophisticated robotic miners deploy. Their task is not to dig for precious metals, but for something far more vital: water ice. Locked within that ancient, frozen material are the very atoms of survival: hydrogen and oxygen. Onboard processing plants, miniature refineries in the dark, would use power from the ship's reactor to split that water. The oxygen replenishes the life support system's reserves, a deep breath for the artificial biosphere. The hydrogen, however, becomes the most precious cargo of all: propellant. It is pumped into the ship's tanks, refueling the engines that brought them here. This single act transforms the mission profile. The ship did not have to carry all the fuel for its entire multi-decade journey from Earth. It only needed enough to reach the first of these celestial way stations. The initial launch mass plummets, making the entire endeavor vastly more feasible. This capability extends to the destination as well. Upon arriving at a new star system, the first priority is not just to observe but to sustain. A crew aiming to establish any form of presence cannot rely solely on what they brought. The technology of in-situ resource utilization would allow them to harvest a target planet's atmosphere, perhaps filtering carbon dioxide to create breathable oxygen or methane for fuel. Robotic rovers could process surface regolith, the dusty soil of an alien world, to extract metals for construction or minerals to repair the ship's hull. This turns a fragile outpost into a resilient foothold. It provides the ultimate safety net, a way to manufacture solutions to problems that could not have been predicted light years away from any help. Mastering this art does more than solve logistical problems. It represents a profound psychological shift. It means we are no longer just visitors in space, packing a lunch for a short trip. We become settlers, learning the rhythms and resources of a new environment. The universe stops being a hostile desert to be crossed and starts to reveal itself as a place of possibility, where the very stuff of creation can be gathered and shaped by a clever and adaptable species. This fifth technology is the final piece that unlocks true endurance, ensuring that when we finally reach another star, we have not just arrived, we are prepared to stay. The concept of time itself becomes the next great frontier to conquer. Even with a perfect engine and a self-sustaining ship, a journey lasting multiple human generations presents a psychological chasm as vast as the physical one. How do you ask a crew to live and die within the metal walls of a vessel, knowing their great-great-grandchildren will be the ones to finally see the destination? The sixth technology offers a radical solution, not by making the ship faster, but by slowing down the passengers. This is the realm of long-duration cryogenic suspension, a controlled hibernation that would pause biological time for the travelers. The goal is not the science fiction trope of instant freezing, but a meticulously managed process of profound metabolic slowing. Imagine the crew entering specialized chambers not as a last resort, but as a routine part of the voyage. Their body temperature would be carefully lowered, their breathing and heart rate slowed to an imperceptible whisper, and all cellular activity brought to a near standstill. In this state, they would not age, they would not consume food or water, and they would be blissfully unaware of the decades flowing past the hull. This solves two monumental problems at once. Biologically, it bypasses the health challenges of prolonged exposure to microgravity and radiation, as the hibernating body is in a protected, dormant state. Logistically, it shrinks the life support burden to almost nothing, conserving the ship's precious recycled resources for the active phases at the journey's beginning and end. The technical hurdles, however, are immense. The enemy is ice, Simply freezing a human body causes water within cells to crystallize, forming microscopic daggers that shred delicate cellular structures, making revival impossible. The answer lies not in freezing but in vitrification. This advanced process uses special protective fluids, cryoprotectants, to replace much of the water in tissues. As the body cools, these fluids do not crystallize, but instead harden into a smooth, glass-like state, preserving cellular integrity perfectly. The process of safely introducing and later removing these fluids from every cell in a complex organism like a human is a challenge of staggering precision, requiring technologies that can monitor and manage biology at a molecular level. Beyond the mechanics lies a profound philosophical question. What is the experience of such a journey? For the crew, it would be the closest thing to time travel ever achieved. They would close their eyes in one century and open them in another. Their loved ones on Earth long passed into history, the world they left utterly transformed. It redefines the human relationship with time, compressing a cosmic voyage into a single lifetime of consciousness. While the ethical dimensions are deep, involving consent for a future one cannot fully imagine, the potential is undeniable. Successful hibernation technology would erase the tyranny of generational ships, turning an epic saga spanning centuries into a personal adventure a single individual could undertake and remember. It transforms the starship from a traveling city into a silent sleeper vessel, carrying its precious cargo of dreams across the light years, waiting for the moment to awaken in a new sun's light. The silent hum of a hibernation chamber is a profound expression of trust, a belief that the ship's heart will keep beating for a century. That heart is a reactor, and for the staggering needs of an interstellar voyage, our current power plants are little more than candles in a hurricane. The seventh technology demands we build a portable star or find something even more potent. We must move beyond the simple splitting of atoms in nuclear fission to the far more powerful and elegant process of fusion, the same fire that lights our sun. This is not about creating a bomb, but about bottling a sustained miniature star. The challenge is containment, forcing hydrogen isotopes together under such incredible pressure and temperature that they fuse into helium, releasing a torrent of energy. Achieving this in a controlled, steady state, within a reactor compact and robust enough to fit on a spacecraft, is perhaps the single greatest engineering puzzle we face. Success would mean virtually limitless power, enough to run the engines for decades, maintain the powerful magnetic radiation shields, and energize every life support and manufacturing system without ever worrying about fuel depletion. Yet the theoretical horizon stretches even further, into realms that sound like pure magic but are grounded in the strange mathematics of quantum physics. Concepts like zero-point energy suggest that empty space itself, the vacuum between stars, is not truly empty but seethes with a baseline energy. Tapping even a tiny fraction of this cosmic background could provide power sources of unimaginable density and endurance. While such ideas remain speculative, they highlight a fundamental truth. The leap to the stars requires a parallel leap in our relationship with energy itself. We must transition from an energy-scarce mindset, where every watt is precious and hoarded, to an energy-abundant paradigm. It is the difference between crossing a desert on a single canteen of water and sailing an ocean with the ability to desalinate all the water around you. This seventh technology, the mastery of exotic matter and energy, is the ultimate enabler. It is the brilliant, unwavering light that makes every other system on the ship not just possible but practical. Without this foundational power, the dream of a self-sufficient vessel evaporates, leaving only a dark and drifting shell. Even a perfect star reactor cannot prevent the slow, inevitable decay of matter. Over decades, the relentless bombardment of cosmic radiation and the subtle stresses of temperature extremes will cause even the strongest hull alloys to fatigue, sensors to degrade, and delicate machinery to wear down. A ship that cannot heal itself is a patient slowly fading away, destined to fail long before its journey ends. This demands the eighth technology, a kind of mechanical immune system, built on self-replicating robotics and manufacturing. The vessel must become its own hospital, its own factory, and its own engineer. Imagine a future where a microfracture detected in a coolant pipe does not trigger an alarm for a crew that may be sleeping in hibernation. Instead, it summons a silent, coordinated response. A swarm of maintenance drones no larger than your hand navigates the internal lattice of access tunnels. They carry not just tools but the raw feedstock of construction, metallic powders and polymer resins. At the site of the fracture, they work in concert, using focused beams of energy to sinter the powder into a seamless, molecularly bonded patch, stronger than the original material. This is advanced three-dimensional printing taken to an interstellar scale, a process called nanofabrication that builds and repairs at the atomic level. But the true test of resilience comes when a critical component fails entirely, a main thruster gimbal or a primary data processor for which there is no spare. Here, the ship's manufacturing capability must ascend from repair to true creation. It would utilize a central fabrication bay, a cosmic workshop powered by the ship's reactor. Using detailed digital blueprints stored in its memory, and drawing from banks of raw elemental materials harvested from asteroids or carried from home, it would construct a perfect replacement part from scratch. This process would be carried out by versatile, multi-limbed robotic assemblers, machines capable of the fine motor skills needed for complex electronics in zero gravity, where a single drifting screw could become a catastrophic projectile. In its most profound expression, this technology points toward a concept that could scout the way entirely, the von Neumann probe. Named for the visionary mathematician who conceived it, this is a self-replicating machine. Its sole mission is to travel to a star system rich in resources, where it would use local asteroids and planets to build an exact copy of itself. Each new copy then journeys onward to repeat the process, creating an exponential wave of exploration. While such a probe would likely be an unmanned precursor, the underlying principle is the ultimate form of deep space adaptability. It represents a mission that carries not all the answers, but the boundless capacity to create them from whatever it finds. For our crude starship, this self-healing, self-manufacturing capability is not a luxury. It is the technology that grants the vessel a form of immortality, allowing it to endure hardships and accidents that would doom any rigid, pre-built craft. It transforms the ship from a static object into a resilient, evolving entity, an organism of metal and light that learns to mend its own wounds under the endless stars. The most profound loneliness in the universe is not silence, but a conversation with a century-long delay. As the starship's distance from Earth stretches into light years, any meaningful exchange using conventional radio becomes an exercise in archaeology. A question sent from the crew would take years to arrive, and the answer would not return until decades after it was needed. This communication chasm threatens to sever the voyagers from the very civilization that sent them, turning a mission of exploration into an act of cultural exile. To prevent this, we need the ninth technology, a way to weave a thread across the stellar abyss, a system for quantum and subspace communication. The ideal solution seems to whisper from the strange heart of quantum physics itself, entanglement. In this phenomenon, two particles can be linked in such a way that the state of one instantly influences the other, no matter the distance separating them. If we could entangle particles on Earth with partners on the starship, and then manipulate one set to encode information, theory suggests the change would be reflected immediately in the other. This would be true faster than light communication, a real-time link that defies cosmic distance. The monumental if, however, rests on whether this spooky action at a distance, as Einstein called it, can be controlled to send complex, deliberate messages rather than just reflecting random quantum states. It remains a frontier of physics, a dazzling possibility, not yet a proven tool. While we chase that quantum dream, a more immediately tangible technology offers a powerful bridge: laser-based optical communication. Imagine not a diffuse radio wave broadcast in all directions, but a needle-thin beam of coherent light, focused with incredible precision. This laser link would carry data at bandwidths thousands of times greater than radio, allowing for not just text, but high-definition video streams, vast libraries of scientific data, and complex software updates to be transmitted across the light years. The challenge is one of unimaginable accuracy, aiming a beam the width of a coin at a target over 4 light-years away, and keeping it locked on despite the relative motion of stars. It would require telescopes of unprecedented size and stability on both ends, acting as both transmitter and receiver. Even at light speed, the lag is immense, but the connection would be rich, a fat pipe of information flowing steadily between worlds. The purpose of this technology transcends mere logistics. It is the tether to home. It allows a crew waking from hibernation around a new star to send back their first images not as a static picture, but as a breathtaking panorama, letting humanity see through their eyes in near real time. It enables them to receive news, art, and scientific breakthroughs from a changing Earth, preventing their knowledge from fossilizing. Most importantly, it transforms the mission from a one-way sacrifice into a shared discovery. Every sensor reading, every atmospheric analysis from an alien world, every strange biological signature becomes a gift sent back along this luminous thread. This ninth technology ensures that the voyage does not create a disconnected branch of humanity, but extends a single, conscious network across the galaxy. It is the ultimate act of hope, a declaration that what we learn among the stars must and will be heard. A world of weightlessness may sound like a childhood dream, but for a body evolved over millions of years under Earth's constant pull, it is a slow, silent crisis. Our 10th technology confronts a simple, biological truth: we are creatures of gravity. Without its steady pressure, our physiology begins to unravel. Muscles no longer needed to fight the pull of a planet weaken and waste away in a condition called atrophy. Bones, deprived of the stress that signals them to stay strong, leach their precious minerals, becoming brittle over time. The cardiovascular system, accustomed to pumping blood against gravity, grows lazy and inefficient. These are not temporary inconveniences. They are degenerative changes that would leave a multi-generational crew arriving at a new star system as fragile as glass, utterly incapable of setting foot on a new world, let alone building upon it. To make interstellar travel routine, we must bring a piece of Earth with us, not in a box of soil, but as a fundamental force. We must engineer artificial gravity. The most plausible method is not some mysterious gravity generator from fiction, but a brilliant application of basic physics, centrifugal force. Imagine a section of the starship, perhaps a vast torus or a spinning cylinder, separate from the main hull. As this structure rotates, anything inside it is pressed outward against the inner wall, which becomes the floor. The faster the spin or the larger the diameter, the stronger the simulated gravitational pull. A running track along this curving interior would feel perfectly normal, your feet planted firmly as the world turns around you. This is not magic. It is the same principle that keeps water in a bucket when you swing it in a circle. The engineering challenge, however, is cosmic in scale. We are not talking about a small centrifuge for experiments, but a habitable ring hundreds of meters in diameter, spinning at a precise, constant rate. It must be perfectly balanced. A wobble or vibration in such a massive rotating structure could induce debilitating nausea in the crew, turning their home into a sickening carousel. It must also be seamlessly integrated with the rest of the ship, which may not be spinning. The transition point between the rotating habitat and the static engineering sections would require a complex, frictionless bearing of unimaginable size and reliability, a piece of machinery that must operate flawlessly for a century without maintenance. Providing this consistent, Earth-like pull is far more than a comfort. It is a non-negotiable medical prescription for deep space. It ensures that children born on the voyage develop strong skeletons and healthy hearts. It allows the crew to maintain their strength, to work and live in an environment that keeps their biology prepared for planetary life. The alternative is a journey that fundamentally changes what it means to be human, arriving at a new Eden only to find we have lost the capacity to walk in it. This 10th technology, the creation of a stable, spinning world within a world, is the final piece of the human habitat puzzle. It completes the ship's transformation from a mere vehicle into a true vessel for life, carrying not just explorers, but a future-ready civilization in its gentle, artificial embrace. A hull of ordinary steel would be vaporized in an instant. The 11th technology is the skin of the starship itself, a barrier forged not just for strength, but for an almost impossible combination of virtues. This is not a single material, but a symphony of advanced materials science, each layer engineered to defy a specific terror of the void. The primary threat is kinetic, a grain of sand, no larger than a speck of dust, but moving at a significant fraction of light speed. At such velocities, it carries the destructive energy of a cannonball. The hull must absorb this impact without shattering, without allowing a single crack to spiderweb through its structure. The answer may lie in the realm of the infinitesimally small, in nanomaterials like carbon nanotubes. Picture a fabric woven from tubes of carbon atoms, each one over 1,000 times stronger than steel yet astonishingly light. A hull composite built with these nanotubes could be both a featherweight and an impenetrable shield, distributing the force of a micrometeoroid impact across its entire matrix, dissipating the energy like a ripple across a pond. But strength is only one requirement. The ship will sail from the bitter cold of shadow into the blazing glare of a star, experiencing temperature swings of hundreds of degrees in moments. The material must expand and contract without warping or fatiguing, maintaining a perfect seal. And all the while, it is being bombarded by the relentless rain of cosmic radiation, which over decades can make the toughest metal brittle and weak, like an old photograph fading in the sun. This demands another layer, perhaps an alloy infused with rare earth elements or structured at the molecular level to actively deflect or absorb high-energy particles, preventing them from penetrating deeper into the ship's vital systems. The most visionary concept, however, is a material that does not just resist damage but responds to it. Imagine a metamaterial, its structure designed at the microscopic level to have properties not found in nature. If a breach occurs, perhaps from an impact just a little too powerful, a network of microcapillaries within the material could release a healing polymer that instantly hardens upon contact with the vacuum, sealing the wound autonomously. This is a ship that bleeds and then scabs over in seconds, a living armor. Beyond even these, theorists dream of materials that exist only under conditions of extreme pressure in the hearts of gas giants, like metallic hydrogen. If stabilized, it could be the ultimate superconductor and structural material in one. Creating the skin of an interstellar vessel, therefore, is not a question of finding one miracle substance. It is about layering these atomic-scale breakthroughs into a single, cohesive shield. It requires us to move from shaping materials to programming them, building a hull that is not a passive shell, but an active participant in the ship's survival. This 11th technology is the literal embodiment of our resolve, the final frontier between the fragile world within and the infinite, unforgiving night without. Even the strongest armor is useless if you sail blind into a storm. The 12th technology shifts our focus from the ship's defenses to its vision, to its ability to see the invisible dangers of deep space long before they become a threat. This is the science of predictive astrophysics and hazard mapping, and it transforms the interstellar medium from a mysterious void into a landscape we can read and navigate. Space between the stars is not a perfect vacuum. It is a subtle, complex seascape filled with tenuous clouds of gas and dust, regions of intense radiation streaming from ancient stellar explosions, and the gentle but powerful hills and valleys of gravity carved by dark matter and distant galaxies. A ship traveling at a significant fraction of light speed cannot simply aim at a star and go. A diffuse cloud of hydrogen, harmless at low speeds, would become a torrent of abrasive particles, slowly sandblasting the hull into oblivion over decades. A pocket of space dense with high-energy cosmic rays could suddenly overwhelm the radiation shields, flooding the ship with lethal particles. The voyage's safety depends on knowing exactly what lies ahead, not just for the next hour, but for the next light year. This demands a new generation of eyes. Before the crewed vessel even launches, a fleet of autonomous scout probes would be sent ahead, their sole mission to be pathfinders. Equipped with next-generation space telescopes and exotic sensor suites, these scouts would map the proposed route in exquisite detail. They would not just take pictures, they would analyze the density and composition of interstellar dust, chart the magnetic fields that channel radiation, and detect the subtle gravitational lensing that betrays hidden mass. This torrent of raw data is sent back to the mission planners and later to the ship's own artificial intelligence, where it meets the second part of this technology, advanced modeling software. This software is a cosmic simulator. It takes the map of hazards and weaves it together with the ship's known capabilities, its shielding strength, its hull durability, its engine performance. Then it runs millions of potential course corrections, calculating not just the shortest path, but the safest and most efficient one. It might determine that adding a slight arc to the trajectory, a detour of a few trillion miles, avoids a particularly dense dust cloud, saving the hull from millennia of microscopic erosion. It could plot a course that uses a region of calmer magnetic fields as a protective channel, giving the radiation shields an easier job for a century. This system is constantly updating, using the ship's own forward sensors to refine the map in real time, ensuring the path remains clear. This technology is more than navigation. It is cosmic cartography of the highest order. It turns the terrifying unknown into a navigable highway with known rest stops and hazards clearly marked. It provides the crew and the ship's mind with something priceless in the depth of interstellar space: predictability. It replaces the anxiety of the unseen with the confidence of a charted course, ensuring that every decision to accelerate or turn is informed by a deep understanding of the ocean they sail. The ship's hull protects it from what it hits, but this 12th technology ensures it never has to hit anything at all. The profound silence outside is matched only by the quiet turmoil that could grow within. The 13th technology recognizes that the most fragile component on any starship is not the reactor or the hull, but the human mind itself. Confinement within a metal world, however vast, for longer than a single human lifetime presents a psychological challenge without precedent. We must engineer not just for survival, but for sanity, building systems dedicated to psychological and social stability. The architecture of well-being becomes as vital as the architecture of the ship. One of the most powerful tools will be immersive virtual reality, far beyond any gaming headset we know today. For a crew that may never again feel real wind or walk in a real forest, these systems offer a sanctuary. Imagine a crew member, after a long shift maintaining the hydroponic gardens, retiring to their personal quarters. They don a lightweight interface, and in an instant the sterile walls dissolve. They are standing on a beach. The sound of waves crashing is perfectly synthesized. The smell of salt air is convincingly generated, and the virtual sun warms their skin through a sophisticated haptic suit. This is not an escape from reality, but a necessary therapeutic return to the sensory rhythms of a living world. It combats the sensory deprivation of deep space, reminding the brain of the planet it evolved for. Yet even perfect simulations cannot replace human connection. This is where adaptive artificial intelligence companions come in. These are not simple chatbots, but sophisticated digital entities capable of nuanced conversation, empathy, and learning. They can serve as tutors, historians, sounding boards for ideas, or simply as a consistent, understanding presence for a crew member feeling isolated. They are programmed to recognize signs of psychological strain, depression, or social conflict, and can gently suggest activities, mediate conversations, or alert the human community leaders. But technology can only support a healthy society. It cannot create one. The ship's culture must be deliberately cultivated from the first day. Social structures need to be designed to prevent the insular conflicts that doomed so many terrestrial expeditions. This involves rotating leadership roles, ensuring transparent decision-making, and creating shared rituals and celebrations that mark the passage of time, like observing the ship's annual journey milestone or celebrating the discovery of a new interstellar phenomenon. For a multi-generational voyage, the greatest challenge is sustaining purpose. Why should a child born in the void care about a planet their great-grandparents left? The answer lies in a living, evolving cultural and educational program. The ship's archives are not a static library, but a dynamic core of knowledge. Children learn not just the science of the mission, but the art, music, and stories of Earth, presented not as a lost museum, but as a living heritage they are adding to. They are trained in the ship's systems, giving them immediate responsibility and a sense of contribution. The ultimate goal is to make the journey itself the purpose, to foster a society that finds meaning in the act of exploration, in the stewardship of their miniature world, and in the shared dream of the new sun they are racing toward. This 13th technology, the careful engineering of human hearts and minds, is what separates a successful voyage from a tragic footnote. A ship can arrive at its destination with all systems functioning perfectly, but if the society inside has fractured into despair or madness, the mission has already failed. The technology of well-being ensures the crew does not just endure the journey, but thrives within it, arriving not as broken survivors, but as a whole, hopeful civilization ready to greet the dawn of a new world. The universe itself begins to rewrite the rules of the journey. As the starship's engines push it ever closer to the speed of light, the familiar laws of motion taught in school quietly unravel. This is not a flaw in the engines, but a feature of reality itself, described by Einstein's theory of relativity. At these incredible velocities, space and time are no longer separate, rigid backdrops. They are a flexible fabric, bending and stretching with the ship's passage. The 14th technology is the mind that can navigate this warped reality, a system of relativistic physics navigation. Its first and most profound duty is to solve a paradox that lives at the heart of the theory, time dilation. For the crew racing ahead at near light speed, time literally slows down. A clock on the ship ticks more slowly than an identical clock back on Earth. This is not a mechanical error or an illusion. It is a fundamental property of the cosmos, verified countless times with precise atomic clocks on fast-moving jets and satellites. Over a decades-long interstellar voyage, the effect becomes staggering. The crew might experience a journey lasting, from their perspective, 20 years. But due to time dilation on Earth, 200 years could have passed. The navigation computer cannot use simple Newtonian math. It must constantly recalculate its position, its velocity, and its trajectory within this relativistic framework, where distances contract and time is a local phenomenon. A course correction calculated with old physics would miss its target by billions of miles. Every burst from the engine, every gravitational slingshot around a distant star, must be plotted on a map where the grid lines themselves are shifting. This mastery of relativistic calculation is not just about hitting a target, it is about understanding the very nature of the voyage. Communication with Earth enters a strange new phase. A message sent from the ship saying, "We are halfway there," might take 50 Earth years to arrive, and the reply would find the ship already at its destination, the crew having perceived only a few years of travel. The navigation system must account for these ever-growing communication lags, timestamping every piece of data with both ship time and estimated Earth time, creating a dual chronology for the mission. The practical challenge for the ship's artificial intelligence is immense, requiring processors that can solve fiendishly complex tensor equations in real time, updating the flight path 1,000,000 times a second. But the implications reach far beyond circuitry, touching something deeply human. This technology forces us to confront a new relationship with time and home. The crew, upon returning to the solar system after their mission, would not be coming back to the world they left. They would be travelers from the past, stepping into a future that has moved on without them. Their families, their cultures, even the political landscapes of Earth would be the province of history books. This is the ultimate consequence of relativity made real, a separation measured not in miles but in centuries. Successfully integrating this 14th technology means more than building a better computer. It means preparing a society to psychologically weather this dislocation, to see their journey not as a round trip, but as a one-way leap through time. It ensures that when they finally decelerate into orbit around a new star, their clocks, their charts, and their understanding of the cosmos are all in perfect, heartbreaking alignment. The star fills the viewport, a brilliant promise after the long dark, but the mission's final and perhaps most perilous act still lies ahead. The 15th technology is the art of arrival itself, the system of planetary entry, descent, and landing. This is where the abstract dream of a new world meets the brutal, unforgiving physics of an alien atmosphere. The ship that sailed serenely between stars must now transform into a rugged lander, capable of a controlled fall onto a surface no human eye has ever seen. The challenge is profound uncertainty. From orbit, sensors can map continents and oceans, but they cannot feel the precise density of the air, the sudden violence of wind shear, or the exact composition of a cloud layer that might corrode delicate components. The landing system must therefore be not just strong but brilliantly adaptable. Its first shield is an adaptive heat shield. Unlike the rigid tiles of past missions, this is a smart skin. As it plunges into the atmosphere, generating a fireball of plasma hotter than the surface of a star, thousands of embedded sensors monitor the ablation, the slow burning away of its surface material. Microprocessors adjust the shield's profile in real time, perhaps by releasing tiny amounts of coolant or by morphing its shape slightly, to ensure an even, stable descent no matter how thick or thin the atmosphere proves to be. Once through the worst of the heat, the lander is still falling at supersonic speeds. Here, it cannot deploy fragile parachutes that might shred in unknown winds. Instead, it must use its own power to break against the sky, a technique called supersonic retropropulsion. The main engines, silent since the voyage began, roar back to life while the vehicle is still enveloped in a hypersonic shockwave. The system must maintain flawless stability, fighting through turbulent plasma to slow the craft from a meteor to a hovering platform. Finally, as it descends the last few hundred meters, the true nature of the new world is revealed. Is the landing zone a flat plain of hard basalt, a dune sea of fine dust, or a spongy mat of unknown biology? The landing legs cannot be simple, rigid posts. They must be intelligent limbs, equipped with pressure sensors and articulated joints. As they make contact, they instantly adjust their length and angle to stabilize the craft on a slope or deploy wide pads to prevent sinking into loose sediment. This entire sequence, from orbital velocity to touchdown, is a ballet of autonomous decisions made in seconds, with no possibility of guidance from a home world now impossibly far away. A single miscalculation in the final minute can undo a century of flawless travel. This 15th technology, therefore, represents the ultimate test of trust in our machines. It is the final, delicate handshake with an alien world, the moment the journey ends and the new chapter of exploration truly begins. Its success means more than survival. It means the crew can finally step out, feel a new gravity, breathe air processed by alien plants, and look up at a strange sun in a foreign sky. After generations of dreaming, the future is no longer a destination on a map, but the solid ground beneath their feet. The ground of a new world is firm, but the bodies that walk upon it may need to be something new as well. The 16th technology confronts a radical possibility. Perhaps the ultimate adaptation is not to the ship, but to the crew themselves. This is the frontier of bioengineering and genetic adaptation, moving beyond simply protecting the human form to actively reshaping it for the realities of deep space. The vision is one of profound symbiosis, where the line between the human explorer and the starship environment begins to blur. Consider the constant, silent rain of cosmic radiation, a threat that requires meters of shielding or powerful magnetic fields to mitigate. What if instead the crew's own cells could be made more resilient? Through precise genetic adjustments, we could enhance the body's natural DNA repair mechanisms, or introduce biological pathways that make tissues more resistant to particle damage. This would not make them invulnerable, but it would provide a crucial secondary layer of defense, a living armor woven into their very biology. Similarly, the debilitating loss of bone density in microgravity, or even in artificial spin gravity that might be less than Earth standard, could be addressed. Genetic tweaks might optimize the body's calcium metabolism or strengthen the cellular signals that build bone, helping the skeletal system maintain its integrity for a lifetime spent away from our home world's pull. The adaptation could extend to the most fundamental need, sustenance. The closed-loop ecosystem of the ship's gardens is a masterpiece of engineering, but what if the human metabolism could be fine-tuned to thrive within it? Genetic modifications could improve our efficiency at extracting nutrients from the primary food sources grown on board, perhaps from algae or specially designed plant strains, reducing waste and making the entire life support system more robust. This concept pushes even further into the realm of synthetic biology, which is not just about altering humans, but about creating entirely new, tailored organisms as integral partners in the voyage. Imagine microbes engineered not just to recycle waste, but to manufacture vitamins or essential medicines from simple raw materials, or photosynthetic bacteria designed to coat interior surfaces, contributing to oxygen production while absorbing excess carbon dioxide, turning the ship's walls into a living, breathing membrane. This path of biological redesign, however, leads into a labyrinth of profound ethical questions. At what point does enhancement change what it means to be human? If we modify a crew for deep space, are they creating a new branch of humanity, one that may find it difficult or even undesirable to ever return to a terrestrial environment? The choices made would echo for generations, as these genetic changes could be passed to children born on the voyage, shaping a society biologically distinct from the one that launched their ancestors. It forces us to ask whether the ultimate purpose of going to the stars is to bring humanity as it is to new worlds, or to allow humanity itself to evolve into something new, suited for the cosmic ocean. This 16th technology, therefore, is not merely a set of medical procedures. It is a philosophical crossroads, it offers a path of incredible resilience where the vessel and its inhabitants become a single, deeply integrated organism, each supporting the other in ways that pure machinery cannot. It redefines adaptability, making it not just a trait of mind or culture, but a quality written into the very code of life, ensuring that wherever we go, we are not just visitors surviving in a suit, but beings becoming ever more at home in the universe. The silent hum of a star reactor is not just power, it is heat, an immense and constant byproduct of every energy conversion on board. This is the 17th technology, a battle against a relentless, invisible enemy: waste heat management. Every watt of electricity generated for the engines, the shields, or the life support system ultimately degrades into thermal energy. On Earth, we shed excess heat easily into the air, the ground, or vast bodies of water. But in the vacuum of space, there is no air to carry it away, no ocean to absorb it. The only way to reject heat is through radiation, the slow, steady glow of infrared light. This turns the starship into a delicate thermodynamic balancing act, where the energy you produce must perfectly equal the energy you radiate away, or the interior temperature begins an irreversible climb. The solution lies in vast, intricate radiator panels, often imagined as delicate wings unfurled from the ship's hull. These are not simple metal sheets, they are masterpieces of materials science, engineered from substances with extremely high emissivity, meaning they are exceptionally good at converting internal heat into infrared radiation. They might be built from advanced carbon composites or ceramics, able to withstand the brutal temperature swings of space without warping or cracking. Their design is equally critical, often featuring intricate, branching fin structures to maximize surface area, creating a sprawling, luminous lacework in the darkness. But these radiators present a profound vulnerability. They are, by necessity, large, thin, and exposed. A micrometeoroid strike that would ping harmlessly off the main hull could puncture a radiator coolant line, crippling the ship's ability to cool itself. Therefore, the technology must include smart, self-healing systems within the radiator loops, and perhaps even designs that can retract or reconfigure during periods of heightened debris risk. The management of this heat is a constant, silent calculation running in the ship's artificial intelligence. During high-power maneuvers, when the engines are at full thrust, the radiators must work at maximum capacity, glowing with a dull, deep red warmth against the stars. In cruise mode, they can be partially shut down or angled to reduce their profile. This is a dance of survival where the byproduct of life itself, of light and power and movement, must be carefully, continuously purged into the infinite cold. Without this ability, the starship would suffer a quiet, fatal fate, not from explosion or collision, but from a slow, inescapable fever, turning the vessel from a sanctuary into an oven over the course of its long voyage. It is a reminder that in the void, even the energy of creation must have a path back into the night. A single point of failure is a terrifying concept in the deep dark. The 18th technology offers a radical alternative, a mission architecture built not on the strength of one vessel, but on the resilience of many. This is the principle of swarm intelligence and distributed systems, moving from the image of a solitary ark to that of a cooperative flotilla. Instead of one colossal starship carrying all our eggs in one basket, imagine a fleet of dozens, even hundreds, of smaller, specialized modules traveling together across the light years. Each module is a self-contained unit with its own power, propulsion, and basic systems, but they are all in constant, whispering communication, forming a single, decentralized intelligence. The advantage is profound redundancy. In a monolithic ship, a catastrophic failure in the main reactor or a breach in the primary hull could doom the entire mission and everyone aboard. In a swarm, if a propulsion module suffers an irreparable malfunction, its function can be redistributed. Other modules in the fleet adjust their thrust profile slightly, compensating for the loss, while the crew and critical resources are safely housed in other, undamaged sections of the swarm. The mission continues, adapting to the setback without a single point of catastrophic failure. This demands a new kind of artificial mind, not a single captain artificial intelligence, but a hive mind. Advanced swarm intelligence algorithms, inspired by the flocking of birds or the collective problem-solving of an ant colony, would govern the fleet's behavior. These algorithms allow for emergent coordination without a central commander. Each module follows simple local rules, like maintain a safe distance from your neighbors, align your trajectory with the group average, and move toward the collective goal. From these simple interactions, complex, fluid group behavior emerges. The entire swarm can smoothly navigate around a previously unseen dust cloud, or reconfigure its formation to optimize shielding against a radiation burst, all through decentralized decision-making. This architecture also enables radical specialization. One cluster of modules might be dedicated entirely to propulsion, their reactors and engines working in unison to push the fleet forward. Another group could be lush, rotating habitats, providing artificial gravity and spacious living quarters. A third set might be pure science platforms, bristling with telescopes and particle detectors, unburdened by the needs of a crew. They work in concert, a symphony of purpose where no single piece has to do everything. This approach mirrors the most resilient systems in biology, where the loss of a single cell does not kill the organism. It offers a more flexible, fault-tolerant pathway, suggesting that our first steps into the interstellar ocean might not be taken by a single brave ship, but by a murmuration of craft, a community of machines and minds, ensuring that even if part of the dream falters, the whole journey never does. But a laser powerful enough to push a starship is more than a gentle breeze. It is a cosmic scalpel of unimaginable intensity. This 19th technology transforms light itself into both a sail and a shield, a tool of pure energy with the dual purpose of motivation and protection. Directed energy systems represent a fundamental shift from carrying your fuel to riding a beam sent from home. The most elegant vision is the light sail. Picture a vessel with no engines, no fuel tanks, just a vast reflective membrane thinner than a soap bubble, kilometers across. From a fixed installation in our solar system, perhaps orbiting the sun, an array of lasers would focus their combined power onto this sail. The pressure of trillions upon trillions of photons, though minuscule individually, would push against the sail with a steady, mounting force. Unlike a chemical rocket that burns out in minutes, this push could continue for years, accelerating the craft to a significant fraction of light speed without it ever carrying a drop of propellant. It is a ship riding a river of light, yet the power required is staggering, demanding lasers or microwave beams of planetary scale, and a sail material strong enough to withstand the acceleration without tearing, yet light enough to be pushed by light itself. But the utility of such a focused beam does not end at launch. Once the ship is on its way, smaller, onboard versions of this technology become its vigilant guardians. The interstellar medium is not empty, it is filled with microscopic dust and ice, remnants of ancient solar systems. At high velocities, each tiny grain hits with the force of a bullet. A directed energy defense system would act as a point defense network. Powerful, rapid-fire lasers, guided by the ship's predictive sensors, would track and vaporize incoming micrometeoroids before they ever reach the hull, turning potential impacts into harmless puffs of plasma. In a denser region, like the outskirts of a nebula, the system could operate in a broader mode, firing sustained beams to clear a path, pushing aside or disintegrating larger obstructions to create a safer corridor. The precision required for this is almost beyond comprehension. It means aiming a beam of energy the width of a dinner plate at a target smaller than a pebble, over a distance of thousands of kilometers and hitting it perfectly while both are moving at relativistic speeds. It demands sensors that can see these invisible threats and computers that can calculate the intercept in microseconds. Mastering directed energy, therefore, is about mastering control at the limits of physics. It provides a single, versatile answer to two of the journey's greatest needs: the initial push to break free from solar gravity and the constant, active defense against the silent shrapnel of deep space. It turns the ship from a passive traveler into an entity that can carve its own safety from the void, wielding light as both its wind and its sword. The first footfall on an alien world is only the beginning of the true journey. The 20th technology prepares us for the moment after the landing gear settles, when we must learn to listen to a planet that speaks in a language of chemistry, geology, and perhaps consciousness. This is the dual art of universal translation and xenolinguistics, a system that begins long before any handshake, with the ship's sensors drinking in the very essence of a new world. Orbiting above or from the surface itself, a suite of instruments performs a silent symphony of analysis. Spectrometers break down the light reflecting off clouds and rocks, revealing the precise atomic dance of the atmosphere, hunting for the unstable chemical signatures that, on Earth, are only produced by life. Seismic probes listen to the planet's heartbeat, mapping subterranean oceans of water or magma. Every gust of wind, every shift in soil pH, every complex molecule drifting in the air is a word in a planetary story we have never heard before. Decoding this physical language is one monumental task, but the greater challenge awaits the moment we discover we are not the only authors in this cosmic library. Should we encounter a complex alien ecosystem or even intelligence, we face the most profound communication barrier in history. Their mode of expression might not be sound waves at all. It could be patterns of bioluminescent flashes in a deep ocean, rhythmic vibrations through a silicon-rich crust, or even modulated magnetic fields. Our concept of language, built on nouns and verbs and linear sentences, could be utterly irrelevant. This is where universal translation moves from science fiction to a necessary science. The goal is not a magic earpiece, but a robust algorithmic framework, a meta-language of logic and pattern recognition. This system would be fed all the data the sensors collect, every sequence, every repetition, every correlation between action and observable effect in the alien environment. It would search for underlying structures, for syntax in the seemingly chaotic, looking for the rules that govern their communication, whether it is a warning, a mathematical principle, or an expression of identity. Developing such a capability forces us to re-examine the very foundations of how thought and information can be structured. It prepares us not merely to visit, but to understand, transforming a landing from a territorial claim into the opening of a dialogue. The true purpose of this technology is humility. It acknowledges that the greatest discovery in another star system may not be a resource or a habitable zone, but a perspective, a way of seeing the universe so foreign it expands our own. To arrive with the tools for translation is to arrive with an open hand instead of a closed fist, offering the possibility that our first message to another mind will not be one of conquest, but of a simple and universe-altering hello. The fabric of space itself may hold hidden passages we have only begun to theorize. Our 21st technology is a search for these cosmic seams, a system for temporal and spatial anomaly detection. This moves beyond mapping dust and radiation into the realm where gravity bends light and time, hunting for the subtle signatures of phenomena that could either revolutionize our journey or tear our vessel apart. The theories are breathtaking, stable wormholes acting as bridges between distant points in the galaxy, or warp drives that contract space ahead of the ship and expand it behind, allowing travel without locally breaking the light speed limit. Yet these concepts remain in the domain of advanced mathematics and speculation, requiring forms of matter and energy we do not yet know how to create or control. Practical first step, then, is not to build these engines, but to develop the eyes that could one day find the raw materials for them, or at the very least see the dangers they might leave in their wake. This demands sensors of almost unimaginable sensitivity. Imagine arrays of laser interferometers, much like those used to detect gravitational waves on Earth, but scaled for a moving starship. They would monitor the infinitesimal stretching and squeezing of spacetime itself along the vessel's path. A stable, navigable wormhole, if such a thing exists, would not be a visible hole in the stars. It would be a gravitational fingerprint, a specific pattern of spacetime curvature that these sensors might identify as a region where the laws of geometry behave in a profoundly unusual way. Similarly, the wake of a naturally occurring warp bubble, or the debris from a cataclysmic event that folded space, could create navigational hazards, regions of intense gravitational shear that could stress a ship's hull or violently alter its course without warning. Detecting these distortions is like trying to hear a whisper in a hurricane. The ship's own motion, the gentle tug of distant stars, and the background hum of the universe all create noise that must be filtered out by brilliant algorithms, searching for the subtle signal that does not fit. This technology serves two vital purposes. First, it is a safeguard, an early warning system for the hidden topography of spacetime that could disrupt the most carefully plotted course. Second, and more profoundly, it is a tool of pure discovery. It keeps the door open to the universe's greatest secrets. By equipping our vessels with these eyes, we acknowledge that the rules of travel we understand today may be mere chapters in a much larger book. We prepare not just to follow the known paths, but to recognize the signposts for paths we have not yet dreamed of, ensuring that our journey into the cosmos remains, above all, a journey of learning. The first breath of an alien atmosphere is a moment of both triumph and profound uncertainty. The 22nd technology shifts the mission from arrival to the beginnings of roots, from exploration to the first whispers of a home. This is not the grand, centuries-long dream of full-scale terraforming, but something more immediate and vital: ecological terraforming precursors. These are the tools that allow a crew to start a conversation with a new world, to ask if a patch of ground can sustain them, and to gently begin shaping the answer. Before you can reshape a planet, you must first understand how to nurture a single hectare. The work begins with the air itself. An atmospheric processor is less a factory and more a sophisticated chemical translator. It draws in the native atmosphere, which might be thick with carbon dioxide, laced with methane, or perilously thin. Through a series of controlled reactions, often powered by the ship's abundant energy, it begins the slow work of conversion. Perhaps it uses advanced catalysts to split carbon dioxide into breathable oxygen and solid carbon bricks, or it filters out trace toxins that would be harmless in small doses but lethal over a lifetime. This machine is a test, a prototype for the vast global systems that might one day follow, but its immediate purpose is to create a bubble of Earth-like air, not for the entire planet, but for the first sealed habitats and greenhouses. Outside those habitats lies the ground, the regolith. To Earth-born plants, this material is often poison, lacking the complex organic chemistry, the beneficial microbes, and the proper structure of true soil. This is where soil conditioners come in, a blend of technology and tailored biology. Robotic tillers break up the compacted ground, while introduced minerals adjust its pH. Then comes the living element, a carefully designed inoculant of bacteria and fungi. These microorganisms are the unsung heroes of any ecosystem, breaking down rocks to release nutrients and creating the web of life that supports everything else. They begin the multi-year process of turning sterile dirt into living soil, a foundation for the first experimental crops grown under protective domes. The most profound step, however, is the establishment of a contained biosphere experiment. This is a leap beyond the ship's internal life support. It is a small, transparent world placed on the new planet's surface, using its sunlight, subjected to its temperature swings, and filled with a curated selection of earth plants, insects, and perhaps even small aquatic systems. This miniature ark is the ultimate test. Can Earth life, with our technological support, find a foothold here? Does the local sunlight spectrum support photosynthesis? Are there unknown pathogens in the environment that attack our plants? The data from this single, sealed garden is worth more than a library of orbital surveys. It tells the crew, in the most direct terms possible, what kind of future is possible on this world. These precursor technologies represent a fundamental change in mindset. They are the first tangible move from being guests to becoming hosts, from taking samples to sowing seeds. It is the difference between pitching a tent and laying a cornerstone. With these tools, the crew does not just study the new world. They begin a slow, respectful dialogue with it, learning its language of chemistry and climate, and offering in return the first, fragile gifts of a green and growing future. A child born in the deep dark inherits more than a ship. They inherit a legacy of impossible complexity. The 23rd technology confronts the silent erosion of time, the slow fading of knowledge across generations. How do you teach a person to maintain a fusion reactor their grandparents built, or to understand the cultural nuances of an Earth they have never seen? The answer may lie not in books or lectures, but in a direct communion of mind and machine through neurological interfaces and immersive knowledge transfer. This is the art of preserving memory itself, of weaving expertise directly into the fabric of consciousness. For a crew separated from their home world by centuries, traditional education risks losing the subtle, intuitive understandings, the muscle memory of a master engineer, or the emotional resonance of a historical event. Advanced immersive learning systems would act as living libraries. A young apprentice preparing to service the magnetic shielding could enter a virtual environment so perfect it feels real. They stand beside a holographic master technician who guides their hands, not through a screen, but through haptic gloves that transmit the precise resistance of a torque wrench, the vibration of a misaligned component, and the satisfying click of a perfect seal. They experience failures and successes in a safe simulation, building neural pathways for skills that might not be needed for another 50 years. This goes beyond virtual reality into the realm of direct neural interfaces, though such a concept requires the utmost care and respect for the individual. The goal is not to overwrite a personality, but to offer a profound augmentation, a way to experience knowledge as a memory one has lived. A historian could access a curated sensory record of a pivotal moment from Earth's past, feeling the context and emotion behind a decision, understanding not just the date of an event, but its human weight. This ensures the mission's cultural memory, its art, philosophy, and core purpose are passed down not as dry facts, but as a lived inheritance. The continuity this provides is the mission's immune system against forgetfulness. It prevents critical procedures from becoming ritual without understanding, and it guards against the slow drift of societal values that could undermine the original, cooperative spirit of the voyage. When the final generation awakens their ship in orbit around a new sun, they do so not as strangers to their own vessel, but as the living culmination of every generation that came before. They hold in their minds the collective experience of the journey, the solved problems, and the hard-learned lessons, giving them the confidence to take that final, historic step. This technology binds time, creating a single, unbroken thread of intent stretching from the launch pad on old Earth to the first footprint in alien soil, ensuring the dream that left our world arrives intact at another. Silence is a form of respect in a universe we do not yet understand. Our 24th technology, metamaterial cloaking and stealth, transforms that respect into a physical principle. The goal is not concealment for its own sake, but the profound scientific need for purity. To truly learn the secrets of a newly discovered star system, especially one that may harbor delicate ecosystems or even nascent life, we must minimize our own contamination. Our presence is a shout in a silent room. The heat radiating from our ship's hull, the radio chatter of our systems, even the reflected light from our metal skin, all form a glaring signature that could alter the very phenomena we have come light years to study. To be a true observer, we must learn to become invisible. This is where the exotic science of metamaterials enters the story. These are not found in nature, but are engineered substances with microscopic structures designed to manipulate waves of energy in extraordinary ways. Picture a hull layered with these materials, their atomic lattices arranged like a forest of microscopic spirals and rings. As light, radar, or even thermal radiation strikes this surface, the metamaterial guides the waves around the object, like water flowing smoothly around a stone in a stream, and reassembles them on the other side. To an outside sensor, the ship simply isn't there, a ghost in the cosmic machinery. The engineering hurdles are monumental, requiring control over a broad spectrum of emissions and perfect performance at all angles. Yet the ethical imperative is clear. This capability would allow a survey mission to slip into orbit around an alien world like a whisper. Its sensors could listen to the natural radio emissions of a gas giant, map the atmospheric chemistry of an Earth-like planet, and even observe potential biological activity, all without broadcasting our presence or bathing the environment in our own artificial radiation. It is the ultimate tool for non-invasive study, honoring the prime directive of ethical exploration before we ever make first contact. It grants us the humility to watch and learn before we ever consider stepping forward, ensuring that our first contribution to a new chapter of cosmic history is not an interruption, but a patient, reverent understanding of the story already being told. A symphony of miracles is still just noise without a conductor. This brings us to the final, unifying piece of the puzzle, the 25th technology, Holistic System Integration Artificial Intelligence. It is the mastermind, the central nervous system of the entire starship. While earlier we discussed the navigational artificial intelligence that pilots the vessel, this is something far greater. Its role is not to steer, but to orchestrate, to weave the 24 other revolutionary systems into a single, seamless, living entity. Think of the ship not as a collection of parts, but as a body. The fusion reactor is the heart pumping power. The radiation shield is the immune system. The life support gardens are the lungs and digestive tract. The self-repairing hull is the skin. The holistic artificial intelligence is the brain and central nervous system combined, feeling every pulse, interpreting every signal, and sending out commands to maintain a perfect dynamic balance. Its tasks are a constant dance of cosmic priorities. It must decide in real time how to allocate the reactor's immense power. Does more energy go to the engines for a critical course correction? Or is it diverted to bolster the magnetic shields against a sudden radiation spike, or to the water recyclers because a filter is nearing capacity? There is no single right answer, only a perfect, ever-shifting compromise that the artificial intelligence must calculate 1,000,000 times a second. It oversees the silent ballet of the maintenance robots, scheduling repairs and fabricating spare parts, not just when something breaks, but based on predictive models of wear, ensuring no single system ever approaches a point of failure. It monitors the crew's health through biometrics and then makes subtle adjustments to the closed-loop ecosystem, perhaps tuning the nutrient mix in the hydroponics or the light spectrum for the algae tanks to proactively support their well-being. This artificial intelligence is the ultimate mediator, the peacekeeper between technologies that were never designed to work together. It ensures the waste heat from the engines doesn't overwhelm the thermal radiators, that the vibrations from the artificial gravity ring don't interfere with the sensitive astrophysics sensors, and that the harvest schedule for the onboard gardens aligns with the crew's hibernation cycles. Developing such a system is the pinnacle of systems engineering, a challenge of staggering complexity. We are not building a better computer, we are attempting to codify wisdom, to create an entity that understands the profound interconnectedness of everything on board. It must possess a kind of synthetic intuition, able to see patterns in chaos and make judgment calls when faced with scenarios its programmers on Earth could never have envisioned. This final technology is what transforms the Starship from a marvel of engineering into a true world. It is the quiet consciousness that holds the dream together across the light years, the unwavering will that ensures every other miracle we have built does not just function, but sings in perfect, harmonious concert. With this conductor in place, the voyage ceases to be a mere journey and becomes a state of being, a tiny, purposeful island of life and thought, sailing forever toward the dawn of new suns. This intricate web of miracles reveals a final, overarching truth. Each of these 25 technologies is not a standalone achievement, but a single thread in an impossibly complex tapestry. Pull one thread and the entire image changes or even unravels. This is the interdependence challenge, the silent law that governs our path to the stars. A revolutionary engine that can push us to near light speed is not a victory, it is a demand. It immediately creates new, more severe problems for the very technologies that must make the journey survivable. Think of it this way, a faster ship means the impact of even a speck of dust carries exponentially more energy, requiring hull materials far beyond what we envisioned. That same velocity also shortens the warning time for cosmic hazards, placing an immense burden on the predictive mapping systems and the autonomous artificial intelligence that must react in microseconds. A breakthrough in one area does not solve a puzzle, it transforms the puzzle into a new, more difficult one. The relationship between these systems is a constant conversation of cause and effect. Consider the dream of a compact fusion reactor, the portable star that powers everything. Its successful operation solves the energy problem, but in doing so, it creates a monumental heat management problem, requiring those vast, fragile radiator wings we discussed. Those radiators, in turn, become a critical vulnerability that the self-repairing hull and micrometeoroid defense systems must now protect. There is no linear path, no simple checklist where we solve propulsion, then shielding, then life support. They must all advance together in a delicate, coordinated dance. You cannot test a full-scale artificial gravity ring without the power to spin it, and you cannot design the power system without knowing the gravity ring's final mass and energy needs. It is a circular puzzle where every answer changes the question. This transforms the endeavor from a series of engineering projects into a single, unified revolution. It demands a global symphony of scientific minds, where the materials scientist working on radiation-resistant alloys is in constant dialogue with the physicist modeling reactor emissions, and the biologist engineering closed-loop ecosystems is collaborating with the psychologist studying long-term confinement. A bottleneck in any one field, say, our inability to stabilize a fusion reaction long enough, becomes a bottleneck for a dozen other critical systems waiting for that power. This interdependence is why the dream of interstellar travel feels so distant. It is not a mountain to be climbed one step at a time, but an entire mountain range where we must establish base camps on every peak simultaneously. The true measure of our readiness will not be a brilliant engine test or a new material, but the moment we can successfully operate a fully integrated prototype, a small-scale version of this entire interdependent web, where the success of each part genuinely depends on the flawless function of all the others. The path to the stars is not a single leap, but a bridge built from 25 distinct pillars of understanding. We have traced the arc of this bridge, from the engines that must burn for a century to the silent, self-healing hull that endures the journey. Each pillar represents a revolution, a mountain of scientific and engineering challenge that must be scaled not in isolation, but in concert with all the others. The dream of routine travel to another sun is not a single invention waiting in a lab, but a grand culmination, a symphony of human ingenuity where every instrument must play its part perfectly for the music to be heard across the light years. The scale is almost beyond comprehension, from taming the power of a star in a bottle to safeguarding the delicate psychology of a crew that may never again feel a natural breeze. Yet, by mapping these challenges so meticulously, we do more than fantasize about a distant future. We chart a practical course for it. We identify the specific peaks we must climb, turning an overwhelming dream into a series of solvable, if monumental, problems. This pursuit, this grandest of human endeavors, holds a beautiful secret. The journey itself will transform us long before we ever reach another star. Every attempt to create a perfect closed-loop ecosystem teaches us how to better care for our own biosphere. Every innovation in compact, clean energy pushes forward solutions for a sustainable Earth. The struggle to build materials that can withstand cosmic erosion may gift us alloys and composites that revolutionize construction, medicine, and transportation at home. The technologies we develop to protect a human mind in the profound isolation of deep space could lead to breakthroughs in mental health and social cohesion for communities everywhere. The stars may be the destination, but the path is paved with gifts for the world we leave behind. Look around you, and you will see the first steps being taken. In laboratories today, physicists are working to sustain fusion reactions for a few seconds longer. Biologists are engineering bacteria to thrive in extreme environments. Roboticists are teaching machines to repair themselves. Each of these efforts is a single, tentative footfall on that long bridge. They are the early answers to the questions we have laid out. The dream of touching another sun does more than push the boundaries of physics. It pushes us to become better engineers, more thoughtful scientists, and perhaps a more unified species, collaborating across every discipline and border to achieve something truly worthy of our potential. So we leave you with a question to ponder, a thought to carry with you as you look at the night sky. Which of these 25 mountains do you believe will be the most difficult for us to climb? Is it the perfect fusion reactor, the stable artificial gravity ring, or the profound challenge of keeping a society sane and purposeful across generations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation about humanity's greatest adventure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into our future among the stars, subscribe for more journeys to the edges of science and imagination. Together, let's keep